Hello, my name is Cash Hargett. I'm a member of the North Texas Model Shipwrights. And if you'll bear with me, I'm going to introduce you to an acquisition I got for my birthday. Let me get this turned around and we'll show you what it is. It's the Horizon Harbor Tug. Now, before I go any further, I'll tell you right now, I installed my own equipment. I use a Radio Master TX16S, which I like to put in all my boats, except for maybe my little go-fast boats. I have a pistol reel for that. This is a well-made boat. It really is. I've never had a ready-to-run or ready-to-fly model that I've kept more than a month. That I'd get it, I'd be excited about it. I guess the fact I didn't have anything invested in it in time, building it or messing with it or tinkering with it, I just fell short. But this is well made. It's got some detail. The hull and the superstructure is based off of a real boat called the Tallshore Wolf 8. And my intention is to detail it as best I can like the Tallshore Wolf 8, to bring it a little more alive. But for the most part, for the target audience this boat's made for. And it's worth the money. It really is. A good kit this size is going to run you at least a couple $100. And then you have to build it, and you have to paint it, and you got to put your equipment in it. So for $4.99, it's not a bad deal. But let me show you what I did to it. Give me just a second. Let's take the superstructure off. And let's look inside. You notice, and I think I get a little more light on this thing here. Hang on a second. I am running a non-stock motor. That is a Zip Kit 650, 650 kV, 36 millimeter outside diameter brushless motor. It's got plenty of power. I Maiden this thing this past Sunday, and she exceeded my expectations. I also have the same water pump I like to use for my boats that have fire monitors. It runs on 2 cells. Most of my boats are set to run on 2-cell LiPos. And it will shoot quite a ways, I'd say 12, 15 feet out in front of it on 2 cells. It's about a $12 pump you get off Amazon. So I've got throttle, I've got rudder, I am using the little LED controller that comes with it. It works a treat. So I've got lights, and I use an old, like a little 10 amp brushed model airplane speed control to power the pump. Now that little fella right there, let me get a little bit of a look at it. There we go. That's a FreeSky FAS 40 current sensor. First time I've ever used telemetry, and that works well. I got it set up on my Radio Master on the main screen, and I can tell you the state of charge of my battery and how many amps I'm pulling. So the motor I've been talking about is one of these. Zip Kits. So I think TFL makes this for Zip Kits. It's a good little motor. I think the leads are a little long, but that's just me. They've all been consistent. And a buddy of mine and I have started to call this a universal motor because the RPM it pulls on two cells is just perfect for all sorts of warships and working boats. In some boats, you have a little too much speed with it on the smaller boats, but on most of these boats, I am getting to hull speed just a little bit before I get to the top end. And that's perfect. That's great. Very reliable. And if you look over here, I have the Tallshore Wolf 6, the big rust and orange tug up there. And she weighs almost 17 pounds, and that motor pulls it around with no problems. This boat is ballasted. It is right close to 12 pounds. And she sits just almost on the water line. And I ran her around, for a couple hours out at Lake Reimer, Ken Reimer Lake the other day. And she did well. The most I ever pulled an amperage, if I nailed it right off the get-go from a dead stop, she hit about 5 amps, if that. And it settled down at about 3.5 to 4 amps at full chat. And a good cruising speed, I'm barely pulling an amp. So this is a good boat. If you want to run it stock, with the stock equipment, the stock radio, I've got a buddy of mine that runs his that way. He loves it to death. Now he did get rid of the combo receiver / speed control because he wanted to use his radio. So he got a different receiver and a different speed control, but he kept the brush motor and it works fine. It works fine. So hats off to Horizon. I know when they first come out with these, they did have some minor issues with some leaks and some other things that were going on, but they seem to have corrected them as this boat ran dry. So, I'm not running a stock prop either. I'm running instead of 45 millimeter, running a 50 millimeter 3-blade, and I may try to go a little bit bigger. You know, the current sensor will help me see how many amps I'm pulling, and I can pull it down if the motor feels too hot. I can go back down, but I don't think that's going to happen. So going forward, I'm going to do a few more videos detailing the changes I'll make to this boat to turn it into the Talscher Wolf 8. I've already done one thing. So on the front of the Talscher Wolf 6, if I can, there's a crest there, right there just below the middle cabin window, and that is the crest of Cuxhaven. And that's apparently where these guys are based out of. And that boat also came with some small flags that just happened to have that crest in the right size for this boat. So I cut it out carefully, installed it, clear coated it. So I'm on my way. But I've got quite a bit of things to do to this thing to get her to look like Talscher Wolf 8. I'm not going to just go overboard. I'm not a rivet counter. I'm really not. I want the boat to look like, I want it to be recognizable so anybody knows what that boat is. That's what I'm looking for, which means the H has got to come off. I got to find a stylized W to put on it. I've got to add a lifeboat to it, which is on a mount just aft of here. I got to put steps going up here. I may have to repaint this to a little darker color. There's some other details that need to go on this boat. I got to look at pictures and things like that. I've got a friend of mine's got a book about the Talscher Wolf 8, which is really hard to get, and it's all in German. That he's going to let me borrow it, and I'll take a few pics from my camera, so I've got some reference. So by the time I'm done, it should be recognizable as a Talscher Wolf 8. It will not be a full scale conversion. It will be a standoff scale. That's where I want to be at. A good usable sport boat that's going to be scale. So that's my goal. One other thing I might do, I want to get the radar to work. Now, I thought those N20 motors Amazon sells, they get those, you can get that with a vertical drive. I thought it'd fit in here. That's a little too wide, and I don't want to cut that up. So my next thing I can do is install what I call a stripper pole. Basically, I'll have a geared motor inside here down at the bottom of the cabin, so you won't see it. Or I might can put it right up here. The pin almost flush with that. There, with the bottom of it flush with this. And I can run a wire straight up to here. I'll have to cut this off and drill this out and put a brass tube in there for a bearing where the inside diameter of that tube will be the same diameter or the diameter to accept the wire. Paint the wire white up to here And then if I'm using brass, I'll use a light gray or a light brown or something that will help basically hide the background. So unless you know what I've done, you won't see that wire sticking up unless you're looking for it. And I'll have an operating radar. So I've got some work ahead of me. I'm probably going to get rid of the thread mounts and go to a very fine chain. I'll get something like that at Hobby Lobby and mount them that way. And the real Tauscher Wolf 8 has, I think, they got a lot more, it's got quite a few more tires on the side than this does. I don't know if I'm going to actually mess with that or not. That's just how I feel first. I may have a few more that gets the same size. And if I do, they're the same type. Because kind of the same ones you have on the old Wolf 6 up there. I don't know if they're the same size or not. So anyway, then I might do that too. But I've got things to do to it. And it's going to be a process. I'm hoping to have her done when I actually start, doing what I want to do to it. I'm hoping to have most of it done within about 2 months, maybe 3. So just, a little bit here and there. And then she'll just be part of the fleet. So anyway, thank you for listening. And I hope to have an update on this very soon. Y'all have a good day and be safe. Bye-bye. Hi, everybody. It's Cash Hargett. This is the video of the Maiden of my Horizon Harbor Tug. Now, a couple of things about this boat. I am not running their equipment. I've installed a Zip Kit 650 motor, which is one of my favorite brushless motors for this kind of work. It has plenty of power where I want it to be at. A little bit slower than the stock motor on 3 cells, but I'm also running 2 cells. Got our ballaster where I want it. I've also installed my own water pump because I am running 2 cells, and it works a treat. Using the stock Latsis LED light module. And I have a Free Sky voltage and current telemetry module installed, so I know when I'm running and the state of my battery. And this is the first time I've ever used telemetry, so I like it. So my goal is eventually to turn this boat into the Tauscher Wolf 8, which is what the actual boat was modeled off of. Which means the H will have to come off the stack, and a W in its place. I'll have to do the rest of the detail to make the boat come alive and make the boat look right. Now, Horizon did a fine job, in my opinion. And for most people, the amount of detail this boat has would be more than enough for them. And I'm not one of these scale guys that, the boat has to look exact, from 15 inches away. But I'm going to put enough on there to make her look like the Tauscher Wolf 8 at, say, 5-10 feet away in the water. That's where I want to go. So just bear with me, and I'll be doing some video postings on some of the mods I'll be doing to this boat to make her turn her into Tauscher Wolf 8. But right now I'm pleased with her.